So this week, I did it. I stepped out in faith and I submitted my resignation at not just a job, but a community that I have been a part of for more than 10 years. Not that that community has to go away, but definitely means that it will shift, that there will be change that comes. And it's been an interesting few days because I obviously had some very kind and generous people who have reached out to me, have expressed their appreciation for me, which is awesome, and their sadness to see me go, which is felt on my part as well. But it's been this really strange dynamic within myself where I feel the sadness and I feel the grief, and yet I also feel the joy and the excitement of what is to come. And that's a really hard thing to convey when you are walking with people and processing with people and helping others kind of come alongside where you already are. It's not exactly like you can say, oh yeah, I hear that you feel sad, but I'm so excited. And that excitement doesn't negate the sadness that you feel. So I've definitely been feeling a lot of mixed emotions, and I kind of remembered a few years ago when my mom was going through a divorce, more than a few years ago, 10 years ago. And I remember her telling me that she felt so incredibly angry, and yet at the same time so incredibly sad and grief-stricken for the loss of that marriage. And she said something along the lines of, why do I feel both of those feelings? Why do I feel both of those things? And I remember really encouraging her to not fight feeling both of those things, to not fight feeling angry and sad at the same time, to just let herself feel it. Be in that emotion, ride that wave. It is true and it's honest and it's where you're at. And I was remembering that today for myself, that it's okay for me to ride that wave and be in both of those places. The duality of that emotion is not wrong. It's real, it's true, and it's important for me to allow myself to feel both of those things. The other thing that I was reminded of by such a good friend today was how to have emotional boundaries. That this week, as I have communicated with people that I care about and I've been in leadership positions with and have walked with in various capacities for the last 10 years, I was finding myself to be very fatigued and very weary from all of those conversations. Again, not because any of them were bad, they were all so good, but really more just carrying that cognitive load. And this friend today said such wise words to me to set some emotional boundaries with where I'm at in this, that there is no protocol or urgency to respond to something. If I'm feeling weary or heavy, I can take a minute, I can take a few hours before I respond to something. In this day and age with Facebook messages and text messages and all of the different things that can come at you really quickly, but we don't have to feel that urgency. And especially if we're carrying a lot in that moment, we can set emotional boundaries. We actually need to set emotional boundaries for what we can carry, what load we can carry in that moment. And I realized that I hadn't been doing that very well. That while I was trying to walk this out in a kind and loving way with the people I care about, I wasn't necessarily addressing what my needs were. And I think that this is where I'm going with this. I think as moms in particular, not just moms, humans, women, anyone, but especially as moms, so often we do not put in place emotional boundaries, whether we're going through a big thing like leaving a job after 10 years, or a little thing like just navigating the chaos of dinner time with kids, and sometimes we have to, not sometimes, we have to know ourselves and also trust ourselves that what we're feeling is true and what we're feeling is not wrong. Now, it may not be that what we're feeling is the end all and be all, and we need to take action from that feeling, but we have to recognize it and honor it and put emotional boundaries in place so that we can survive it. Because if we are just going along, not addressing what our emotional needs are, what our boundaries need to be, what we even have to give, that is when we find ourselves in a exhausted, poured out, depleted place. And whether we are ministering to people or working with people outside of the home, or we are working and ministering to people inside of our home, it doesn't matter. When we are doing that from a depleted place, we are not doing that at all. And so I hope today I can share this reminder that I had from a great friend today, to put in place some emotional boundaries. Maybe share that with someone today who is finding themselves just always pouring from an empty cup. And maybe today you need to just put one emotional boundary in place, not a whole dozen of them, one emotional boundary. Perhaps that emotional boundary is you need time in the morning to have some quiet space. What does that need to look like? How does that get set up in your home? How do you communicate that with the people in your home? How do you go about actually doing that? Because if you identify that as one emotional boundary that will be good for you, helpful for you, life-giving for you, doesn't that put you in a better spot to be the minister, spouse, parent, coworker, friend that you really want to be? Because you'll be pouring out from a place of overflow or from a place of health as opposed to a place of depletion. Bottom line, don't give way to a place of depletedness in your own emotional health, in honor or in favor of helping others navigate their emotional health. And I'm talking about kids too. We have to take care of us. We have to get filled up through time with the Lord, through time in exercise, through time in sleep and rest, and whatever else that needs to look like, so that we can adequately care for the needs of others. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.